Well, let's hope Savannah sets up the Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
They are joined today by the aforementioned Martine de Koken. Martine will be being sometime during the middle of the set to go upstairs to the cultural pages, not because he's upset about anything. He just has another concurrent gig, I guess the word is. So without further ado, please welcome back to Savannah Legacy and Martine de Koken.
Young and low and mean, I lived down in the valley with 20 moons and eggs Eileen. I went to Enniskillen, but now I'm getting old and grey. Gave up all vulgarity, smoked second hand and cigarettes, and wear me taglioni with me to a load of fun-da-da. I ride to the night-o, to a load of fun-da-da. I ride to the night-o, one night I was invited down to a skating party. The ice was thin and I befell a very sad disaster as I was skating o'er the ice in me, but wet and shoddy. The ice grew thin and I fell in and wet me taglioni with me to the load of fun-da-da. I ride to the night-o, to the load of fun-da-da. I ride to the night-o. Thank you all.
You just see that?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Legacy, accompanied by Martine de Koken, none other than myself. And we're going to play a couple of tunes for you now, ladies and gentlemen. If you brought your dancing shoes, you're welcome to dance on the specially formed tables. The orange ones are the ones that you can dance on. If you're at a green, they're the ones for eating, and the white are for going for a rest later on. So the orange ones are for dancing right now. If anyone wants to get up and dance a jig, get your shoes on. And then we're going into a couple of reels after the jigs. What are the names of these, Valerie? Do they matter?
The first one is called the first one, and the second is called the orange table, that's for dancing on. And
she's always worth bringing on a journey for information, ladies and gentlemen. Valerie, fantastic. poor creature had neither. And the only way out of it was to drown her in the river. Now, I wouldn't recommend that for anyone here, ladies and gentlemen. The laws are different in Georgia nowadays. So this is a song about a cobbler who's very important now in modern Ireland because we're broke and people are mending their shoes instead of throwing them away and getting new Pradas. Anyway, so it goes something like this. And we have t-shirts and CDs for sale if anybody wants to add to the legacy economy. Thank you. This is called Dick Darby. If anyone wants to join in, you're more than welcome. This is first. If you want to pound your hands, it's only for the green tables for this one. Pound your hands for this, thank you. Right. I'm a cobbler. I serve it in my time in old camp. Some call me an old agitator, but now I've resolved to repent. With me inkling of an inkling of an idol, with me inkling of an inkling of an idea, with me robo randy, and me lobstone keeps betting the way. Oh, me father was hung for sheep stealing. Me mother was burnt for a witch. Me sister's a dandy housekeeper, and I'm a mechanic to switch. With me inkling of an inkling of an idol, with me inkling of an inkling of an idea, with me robo randy, and me lobstone keeps betting the way. Oh, it's 40 long years I have travelled, all by the contents of me sack, with me hammers, me awls and me pictures, and I carry them all on me back. With me inkling of an inkling of an idol, with me inkling of an inkling of an idea, with me robo randy, and me lobstone keeps betting the way. She's humpy, she's lumpy. Me wife, she's the devil, she's cracked. And no matter what I may do with her mouth, it goes clickety-clack. With me inkling of an inkling of an idol, with me inkling of an inkling of an idea, with me robo randy, and me lobstone keeps betting away. 'Twas on a bright harvest morning, just before break of the day, I dipped her 3 times in the river, and I carelessly met her good day. With me inkling of an inkling of an idol, with me inkling of an inkling of an idea, with me robo randy, and me lobstone keeps betting away. Thank you very much. I see you all again later, or upstairs. Thank you very much. I'm Martin the Cogon. Right, thank you. That's all right, just open your mouth and let the words follow. And it's saying, Allaloo, Puilaloo, that's kind of nonsensical. And it says, the wild puck goat has gone mad. And it's about a goat that ravaged through the towns of South and Southwest Munster, which is the legs here, not the bottom, that's in there. And the goat was then found, slaughtered, and made into this bowran. So, and this one has got 2 skins, it's double goated. The tune of the chorus is Allaloo, Allaloo, Puilaloo, Allaloo, Allaloo, Time puck Buile. Fantastic. Allaloo, Allaloo, Puilaloo. And then it goes very high. high, and best of luck with that. He goes, Hallelujah. You can chance that as the song goes. So the song is in the Irish language, and it talks about this wild pup goat that's tearing up the place. Go wild, sheer condroini vora, Pikim Gaias me, Doyle Ermel, Kekas Firom, Gomerkoi, a Pokan Kron, say, well, this is your part now. Hallelujah, 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 tan poker, willa, hallelujah, 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 tan poker, willa. That was, oh, it was okay, like. try and do more than the loo. Keep your jaws moving. There we go. Rimmer trasset cheer logo, some coach and cork say, fate namunga, his tashket the more says the tartoiga, push in the nine in the drum left foot. Can you clap in time as well? Hallelujah, hallelujah, fantastic, hallelujah, can't care, hallelujah, hallelujah. How high can you go? Hallelujah, don't poker, I was great, there was some ventriloquy, but it was alright. No, Rogshin can't get a skull down, and a real forcey go and chin of Willen. I shall the Hashillian Bavo, left fan and more the fail picker. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Let's have it now. Hallelujah, God, fair villa. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, God, poker. We got the more Malin Rochdig, Ballion Rochdig. That's the Irish now for Rochestown, which is approximately 1,872 miles that way, but only 4 kilometres from my house. Hey, Bally's forcing on chin, the vulture up the Irk, Satoner, the breached and more, the yet shaky, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Dan poker witha e dingle dangini koshlang tranona vien sagar proshta markhanar witha shedur torbay on gilbo English. Last time now. Oh galontro her forgotten witha hallelujah, hallelujah. Give it all you got. Hallelujah, dan poker witha hallelujah, hallelujah. Fantastic, thanks very much. And you thought all the silliness was with Silly Dilly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been doing a bit of research lately on America, and pardon me, I've moved to Minnesota. It's the coldest place on earth. I've moved to Minnesota, and I'm on my way to being here all the time. The last 7 years I've been coming more and more over to America, and I've found that it's very hard to get a good cup of tea in America, you know? And I was wondering why, and I realised that there was a huge fancy dress party up higher on the East Coast about 200 years ago, and they threw all the china into the water, and no one has drank or made good tea ever since. It's unconstitutional, they said, and they told you, how they fooled you, that coffee was the untaxable fruit, and so it's American now to drink coffee and un-American to drink tea. But I know here in the South you've been trying to secede forever. And you have this kind of funny tea that you make with ice, and it's cold, like sugar. Cold tea. What is it the fella said? You boil the water to freeze it, and then you sweeten it to put lemon in it. Anyway, when tea came to Ireland first, people didn't know what to do with it, you know. There was a story in Peg Sayers that on the Blasket Islands, which is off the big toe here on the right foot, on the Blasket Islands were these great writers and great storytellers
that there was a lot of float scum used to come because it's a treacherous kind of part of the world, and a lot of shipwrecks lost their way there. And there used to be boxes would come up onto the sand, and there was one box with China or East India Trading Company written across it. It was brought up to the house, they opened it, and inside were these black little granules. And they put it out onto the white tablecloth and left it there. It was all soggy now from floating, of course. And when they moved it off the cloth, wasn't there a beautiful brown ring? And for 6 months before someone came from the mainland, they were using it to dye their waistcoats. But tea wasn't so readily available in Ireland as it is today. It didn't come in those disposable sachets. The tea, and of course my father tells me that in wartime, during the Second World War, tea and butter were rationed. And there was a desperate black market. You think your bootlegging was bad. The black market for tea during wartime was supposed to be criminal altogether. But the tea was brought round by the tea man, who used to go round on a pony and trap or a horse and car from house to house, because there was too many corners. Walmart didn't know where to set up. And the man would go around with boxes of tea, and of course he might have a few loaves of bread and a few tinny pots to make extra money. But he'd go from house to house. But the Irish, they're notorious for talking too much, so to take forever, and they mightn't get to their end destination, you know. And there was this one tea man, and this isn't that long ago. This isn't that long ago. I mean, there's people still living in Ireland today. There was a man on radio 2 months ago who still doesn't have electricity. He's living in Ireland with no electricity and no running water in the house. He goes down to the well every day at the age of 68 and goes to the neighbour to plug in his phone. No, that's giving you a prehistoric view. The rest of us are all highfalutin. We have floating cars, you know, we're so into the future. But anyway, this man, he was going from house to house on his rounds, and it was a very wet night now. Winter in Ireland can be treacherous. The rain that starts probably here in Georgia, you kick it out because you don't want it for the winter. It glides across the Atlantic at ferocious speed, picking up all the dirt in the mid-Atlantic over the Azores, getting all the sand and grit and salt that it can, and when it gets to the coast of Ireland, it waits for the rest of its buddies, and then, in a straight line, pummels down on top of us. And the rain comes down, and it doesn't hit the ground at all. It kind of turns as it's hitting the ground, and heat seeks your face and exfoliates your skin. That's why most of the women have these rosy cheeks when you go to Ireland, because all winter long they've had this exfoliation as they walk. And the man, he was on his pony and trap, and he was soaked. He had oilskin coat and a wool jumper underneath, and he was drenched to the bone. When he arrived at the house, they said, "You're going no further tonight, you're staying here." Let you untackle the horse. They untackled the horse, and they put it into the caboose outside. And they gave him a fresh set of clothes and sat him down to the table. Now, the vernacular of the houses long ago was just one big open room, the kitchen room, and they might have a big open fire here. A big open fire with an arm that would come off it, like the Quiet Man, if you've seen it, that you'd put your pot onto it and you'd boil the water, your stew, whatever you're having, over the fire. And then on the gable end of that, so you'd have the fire here heating the people, but it was also, I suppose, to a central heating of its time, it was heating the animals at the other side. There was a little caboose, a little shelter at the other side, that you might put your horse, your cow, maybe your sheep and a donkey inside it, and a pig maybe, you know. And so they put the horse inside, gave him a fresh set of clothes and sat him down, and they made fresh tea. God, the tea leaves were nearly white. They were using them so often because they were waiting for this man to bring fresh tea. And they took the lovely china down off the shelf and gave him a fresh cup. And as he was sitting down to the tea, God, he was enjoying it himself, didn't he see the woman of the house taking the bastable cake out of the fire? You know what that is? Long ago, before the conventional oven, and there's a couple of Amish people next to us in Harmony, Minnesota, and I brought my mother down to see them, and she laughed. 1600, she says. Lord God, don't they have a tap in the house and a conventional oven? But what they used to do long ago is they had a big iron pot, with a lid on top of it, kind of like your Dutch oven, and they'd shove that into the turf inside it, and then they put the grease of the really hot turf on top of it, and that's how you did your baking. And she took it out of the fire, and when she opened it, the aromatic fumes that came out of it were intoxicating. What was inside in it? Only a beautiful wheel of brown bread with a cross on top of it, like the spokes of the wheel at the trap outside. And she took it out and brought it across the kitchen and up onto the shelf. But as she was passing the exhausted Tayman, she could see his nose twitching for a bite of it, and she knew his teeth were swimming inside in his mouth, looking for a bit of the brown cake. Well, she had so much sympathy for the poor traveller, she was going to cut off a square of the brown cake, when the man of the house let out a roar, "Good God, woman, have you lost your mind? How long are you baking to know that you can't cut into brown bread while it is cooling?" For any baker here knows that if you cut into brown bread while it is cooling, it'll only fall down into crumbly bits and only fit for throwing to the hens. Well, she said to herself, no use arguing with a cranky man so late at night. That's free advice for anyone here. He'd have to wait till the morning like the rest of them. So they knelt on the floor, said the rosary, and off into bed. And now there was only the one bed in the house. And the welcome of Ireland long ago, they all hopped into the bed. And there was nothing wrong with that. Great people today would hardly share a room, not to mind share a bed. And God knows it was a small enough bed.
I cannot tell you how excited we are to be back in Savannah. Yes. And after the winter in Ireland, where you couldn't leave your cottage for days at a time. They don't salt the secondary roads, and they've no snow tires. That's it. And walking was even kind of treacherous there, with everyone falling on their arses all over the place.
Hey.
Well, that's what my neighbour said. That's what was going on in Balaghan. I said, how's the weather today? I know, but I love the way he said it. I'll never forget it. So I broke out the ski poles and walked across the fields. That was it. I was not going to be conquered in Ireland. No. It's the American, will to get lunch. I think that's what it was. And my friend was making soup. So we're gonna. God, I'm all out of breath. It must be because it's over 70. It's the altitude. It's the altitude. Is this the low country?
It's a very high stage.
We're going to do an old American song that my mom is convinced was once an Irish song, because of course anything good in America was once born in Ireland. So my mother's from Kerry. She's fierce, yes. Also, the oldest strain of DNA is Celtic. It is. We are the oldest people in the world. I'm telling you, yes. Yes, you're kidding. So we must have discovered everything. It just has to be. This song is called Rough and Rocky. Darling, I've come to tell you, though it almost breaks my heart, but before the morning, darling, we'll be many miles apart. Don't this road look rough and rocky? Don't that sea look wide and deep? Don't my baby look the sweetest when he's in my arms asleep? Can you hear the night bird crying? my house. I just thought, wow, this is gorgeous.
You should see when she picks a scotch she likes.
I don't like scotch, you know that.
That's right.
We're going to do a song that I got from the singing of my mother. This one is called Awaharin Alikatuanenigme, which means, Mother, will you let me go to the fair? It's about a little girl who's in love with, oh good, you like that one. She's in love with the shoemaker, because he's kind of like George Clooney. Yeah, we're Patsy O'Brien. Kind of in the same category. And she's too young to go and see him. So yeah, it just shows you that that sad Irish love song starts awfully young. What in the lick doing me? Mother, will you let me go to the fair? What in the lick doing me? My dearest dear, I do not dare. Begin to come out of the gun and claw, a fair from the hard on County Clare. Begin to come out of the gun and claw, you could listen to me, I won't be there. What in the lick doing me? Mother, will you let me go to the fair? What in the lick doing me? My dearest dear, I do not dare. To a from Marine Park in Brooklyn, and he's been playing Irish music since he was little, and he's so impressed Michael Flatley. He said, you know what, I think Lord of the Dance has seen enough miniskirts and blankets throwing their hair around. And he put Matt as the star fiddle player of Lord of the Dance for years. But he did wear leather pants.
I did. It was 5 years ago at this point, so.
You still got it, Matt. Come on.
Yeah, I don't believe him. He's got the leather pants on under those ones.
You never know. You never know.
And here, just an almighty set of drums, is a man who plays many, many different styles of world music, from flamenco to Cuban to African, and we're so blessed whenever he can come on the road with us. From Ravenna, New York, please welcome Brian Miller. And this man here, an award-winning songwriter, and actually Matt and Patsy have just released a brand new album. It is getting its inaugural debut in Savannah. It's called Road Work, it's tunes. They had to do it here, but this man has won awards for his songwriting, for his great singing, and he loves Savannah so much that he brought his wife with him to the gig. Yes, from the People's Republic of Cork, Patsy O'Brien. Ryan, and I'm from Detroit. And we also would like to give a shout out to Gracie Buttermore, who's come to see us for the first time. Has she gone away?
She'll be back in a minute.
See, she was so overcome. She's only 6 months old, it's too much. Yes, we should have an age limit for our shows. Yes, you have to be over 42 inches and over 40, it's good. Over 40. Now we have to lower that so Brian can come.
As long as there's no hair requirements, will be alright. That's right. Kathy's got us covered.
Sorry, I hope you don't mind. We're just a bit loose because we're in the pub room. This song is the title track of the latest album, The Farthest Way. My heart is on the farthest way. I cannot stop the sea. Moving out to you, moving out to you. My heart is on the farthest way. Those of you who have come to hear us in the past, that I got the real inspiration to sing Irish music and my love of the fiddle from my grandmother, my father's mother. She named me Kathy Ryan, and I loved listening to her sing. She loved sweet melodies, and she encouraged me when I was young to learn the whole song, because I always used to learn just a little. And I thought, and I'd keep singing it over and over again. So she taught me, no, you have to actually, there's a beginning and a middle and an end. So I would sit by her calves when she was in the chair. I'd just lean up against them and sing away, and she was happy. Just, we could do that for hours. And I never knew her as a young woman. She always had grey hair, but when she sang, she was always a girl. It just transformed her. And she always just had such love for us when we came home, as she called it, to Ireland for the summer. The last time I saw her, she was in the final stages of Alzheimer's, and she didn't know me. And it was very, very hard to be with her and not see all that love. And there was no music. And I sat at her by her legs and thought maybe that might jar her memory, and it just seemed to upset her, so I thought I should leave. And my aunt, just before I was getting up to go, said, sing her a song. So I started singing an old ditty that she used to love, and I saw her foot start to tap, and then her knees start to bounce, and I looked up at her, and she was looking down at me. She used to always call me her dote. I was her dote. She said, my dote. And she was just there. She was there for the length of that song. And so I got on the bus to Dublin after, and I wrote this one for her. It's for all the grandparents. They're so important. Kathy, he came from Cooga in a place called Doon. She was a very special girl. A tailor named Timby from the town of Tipperary saw her once, and his heart was in a whirl. They married and they settled in the little town of Newport. They had a fine family, and I'm a very lucky girl, because her son was my father. That made her a grandmother to me. Grandma liked to sing the old Irish songs. She liked the sweet melody. She liked to play her fiddle in the kitchen by the fireside, but best of all, my grandma liked me. Grandma loved to go out walking through the streets of Newport town. When the morning's work was done, she'd put on her finest sweater and take me along out with her. She had a smile for everyone. She wore her hair up neatly in a little braided bun. 'Twas the finest it could be, and every night before bedtime I'd say, oh, Grandma, take it down, and she'd comb through the long waves for me. Grandma liked to sing the old Irish songs. She liked the sweet melody. She liked to play her fiddle in the kitchen by the fireside, but best of all, my grandma liked me. Best of all, my grandma liked me. On special nights after tea, she would play for us. She'd put the devil in the bow. Then she put the fiddle back in the little cloth sack that grandfather sewed so long ago. I'd ask her for a song and she'd sing her favourite one. She'd start the whole family, and then we'd go around the ring and everyone would have to sing. That's the greatest gift that Grandma gave to me. Grandma liked to sing the old Irish songs. She liked the sweet melody. She liked to play her fiddle in the kitchen by the fireside, but best of all, my grandma liked me. Best of all, my grandma